Welcome back to the Gentleman Ultras paper review. I'm Richard Hall, as always, looking through the papers this morning, just checking on all the headlines. And the first thing we can probably see here is just something I tried to touch on a little bit. We can see that it's got 125 years there. We, the sport. Let's see if we can get a better picture of that for you, if my iPad allows. Gazzetta dello Sport with this picture here, just showing that they've been covering the game, sport, cycling, football and anything else for that amount of time, which is some massive achievement. And I think that when we all look back over, we look at ourselves watching Italian football, I think that anyone of any generation, whether it's my generation, the older generations, the young people of today, that pink paper is something that's iconic. It's something that we all look to in the mornings, we all look to for information, whether you speak Italian, whether you don't, I'm still trying desperately to learn Italian. And it helps me when I look through this, even when I didn't, to be able to refer to sites and to refer to this paper. It's a massive part of Italian culture, part of Italian football. Whether you go back to James Richardson doing a much better job at looking through the papers than someone idiot like me does, it's a huge thing. It's a really big deal in Italy. It's a big deal, big part of the culture, and to have that paper, the pink paper, dedicated to sport for so many years is really something that should be celebrated, and it's good that they are, because it's a huge part of Italian life and part of European life, wherever you're from actually. I'm sure that if you're travelling from any country in the world and you come into Italy to watch the football, it's one of the things you look for, it's one of the things you look to, and so congratulations to them. It's a very big achievement. So, big week of football. Corriere dello Sport, in particular, is looking forward to the to the fixtures and focuses very much on Antonio Conte. His message: keep your head down. Basically, telling Inter that this is the weekend where they can set in motion their title challenge. And it's a good point, because his point here when he says the Scudetto race is simply there for them to take. Should have worked hard, mustn't stop now. I completely agree with that. I think that it's something that Inter need to set the pace. It's up to them, because Milan, I think, with an inform Ibra, and he's certainly no no shrinking violet. They're going to be up and at it completely. I think Inter will have a job on their hands. The Tutto Sport really focuses on Andrea Pirlo. Of course, we've talked about this, Davide Mole, the options he has, the fallout of the McKennie party. He's basically saying here, it's all about pride. He wants them to come out with a different attitude to say, look, we're not going to just surrender this Scudetto. We're not going to just say, right, that's it. We're going to fight till the end. And you know what Juventus normally do. So I think it's going to be quite the weekend. I mean, some of the fixtures this weekend will have a massive issue. A massive influence on what's going to happen. Gasparini's been very vocal, saying that Atalanta are going to fight for every point, although he does admit that Udinese can take points off anybody. Excuse me. I think now with the Granata, this derby, I'm personally so looking forward to it. I think it's going to be absolutely huge, and really set a precedent. You look at the difference. If Torino win and Inter win, you're almost thinking that's Inter's title. But if Inter lose, because they have got the ability to do that, and Juventus win, which we expect they will, again, then the narrative changes. Are they coming back? Are they starting to do what everyone expects them to do and actually try and retain another Scudetto? Talks very briefly in Corriere dello Sport about the Verratti. He also has COVID for the second time, which is very unfortunate indeed. And obviously the fallout of that international break. Okay, also here, just in Gazzetta later on, obviously, it talks about the fact that the Coppa Italia final will be played at the Mapei Stadium of home of Sassuolo instead of Rome, which would be quite interesting between Atalanta and Juve. So just before we go, just looking here, I mean, some of the main fixtures it says to look out for today, of course. Quite an interesting one. The Milan Sampdoria early kick-off, I think that'll set the pace. Everyone expecting probably a Milan win with that one. We've talked about the 5 o'clock kick-off, which is Torino Juventus. Don't miss that, that'll be absolutely huge. Roma Sassuolo could be a really interesting game. I think that Fonseca's unfortunately under a little bit of pressure, which God, sort of half an hour on that, deservedly or not, pick your camp. And obviously the evening game between Bologna and Inter, I mean, that's going to be pretty special because obviously Milan and Juve results will already be known, so keep your eyes on those. I also think that Atalanta Udinese could be one of the most exciting